cheap and reliable MT, head over to aoa.com and use coupon code JACOB for 3% off. What is going down, everybody? It's Unbeatable Jacob. A few days ago, I made a big list of my favorite cards from NBA 2K21 My Team. So I felt like it's a good time to make a list for the cards that I was most disappointed by from this whole entire game cycle this year, all throughout the whole entire year of 2K21 My Team. So starting off the list at number 10 is the collector level Damian Lillard. So the collector level kind of just got set aside this year. I'm not sure if they decided to do that just because they're doing the season thing nowadays. I'm not sure what it was, but in previous years, collector level was a pretty big deal. So when we saw that you needed 2,000 cards for this card and 4,000 cards for Tatum, and those were the only collector level cards, I thought maybe they would just be the damn best. But I was definitely mistaken. And I would totally understand if you had Tatum on your list as well. A little bit of a spoiler, but I do not, because I have this Damian Lillard one on there because 2,000 cards was obtainable by sometime around January. And even once he came out, there was just already better options. He didn't really get any Hall of Fame defensive badges. His defensive ratings were very suspect, and on top of that, he didn't even get Pro 2 or Quick, which is just absolutely essential for 3 hunting with a 6'2" guard. So, the people that actually got this card maybe used him for about a week, and he was definitely pretty good, but he became outdated very, very quickly after he came out and was obtainable. And now at number 9, we have this Pink Diamond Manu Ginobili. The reason why he is on this list, if you guys do not remember, they put out a tweet or something in the blog post, I forget how they said it, but they did come out and say that this card was going to be an absolute game changer. They said he was going to be game breaking. They didn't say who it was going to be, but they said something to the effect of this Friday it's going to be a game-breaking card come out, or a card that you don't not want to have in your lineup. Something like that. But the whole community was just ready for some heat to drop. This was about 3 weeks after the game came out, and this is the card we got, and holy smokes, he was bad for his time even. Like, there was better options for sure when he came out, like Allen Houston to run at shooting guard, because this was well before he got the Exum base on this card, and this jump shot he had, 18 with that bad upper, was absolutely terrible. He didn't have Pro 2 or anything like that, not really any good dribble sigs, he just wasn't good flat out. There's no other way to put it. He couldn't even get range at all, you couldn't even add it. He didn't come with Showtime. He came with bronze clamps with only 2. Like, it wasn't good. I know he was at the very start of the year, but just know for the time he was usable, but there was much better options out there. And I think Dominique Wilkins came out even like a few days after. So there just wasn't really any sort of craziness to this card whatsoever. And that's the way he was hyped up to be. So he had to make my list at number 9. At number 8, we have the point guard out of position Kobe. And now, the reason why this card isn't any higher on the list is because he is actually usable on current gen for sure. And he wasn't all that terrible on next gen either. But the thing about it is this Kobe Bryant, and this was the first time we had a point guard Kobe Bryant since 2K19 before position lock. So when people saw point guard Kobe Bryant, they thought he was going to be unreal because of course at 6'6", typically a little undersized for the shooting guard spot, but for point guard, he really looked like he was going to be super, super tough. But they kind of made him useless on next gen by not giving him that quick dribble style that we eventually saw on his invincible card and on his other opal. So he was cool, don't get it twisted, he was definitely cool, but for me personally, there was no shot of him making the lineup in April due to the fact that he did not have quick dribble style, which for me, playing on next gen is absolutely crucial. So yes, he was decent. And also another reason that I thought he was super disappointing was because when they teased him the day before on the Twitter page, they showed a picture of the player model of the Froby, in game, and then once the card came out, it wasn't Froby, it was actually Bald Kobe. So for overall, this card, if he had quick and it was Froby and could play point guard, I would have been all over it. But as a next gen player, with it being Bald Kobe and no quicker shifty, I just couldn't do it. And now at number 7, another guy with the same problem, and that is Dark Matter Stephen Curry. So, you know, he's a 6'3" point guard with a 6'3" wingspan that came out in April. Obviously wasn't going to break the game any sort of way, but you know me, I'm a pretty big Curry fan, so I was looking forward to this card. But once again, they gave him the Steph Curry dribble style. On next gen, it's just very tough to use that, especially for a guard. So I actually made a whole entire video on how 2K messed this card up, because at the very least he would have been fun to use with quick or shifty, but he did not get either of those. I remember Splash Edition made a tweet when this card came out that he was going to stream and use him, and then he realized that he did not have quick or shifty and never fired up. So that's good enough to get Steph at number 7 on my list. And now at number 6, we have this Pink Diamond Patrick Ewing. He came out in Season 2 for Unlimited, and in Season 1, the card actually was pretty good. He definitely was decent, that Pink Diamond Paul George, so dudes thought maybe, you know, since they were going to make us win 60 plus games and still go 12-0, that the Unlimited rewards would be a little more juicy this year, but the writing was on the wall when we got this Pat Ewing card, who made nearly nobody's lineup. There's really nothing more you need to say about this card or look over. I mean, it came out early enough in the year, but there was just many better options, and for winning 60 plus games and going 12-0, he was not worth it whatsoever, and it definitely foreshadowed what was to come for Unlimited for the rest of the year. And now at number 5, we have this Dark Matter J.R. Smith. Probably one of the best cards on this list, but the thing about it is up until this point, the season reward cards had been incredible for their time. Absolute must-haves in your lineup, whether it was the Pink Diamond Curry, Pink Diamond Blake, the Opal Kawhi, all of those cards, Opal D-Rob, were just must-haves and the best at their position once they became obtainable. When this J.R. Smith came out, he was kind of an afterthought. Cards like Opal Luka or Pink Guys Luka seemed to be better, and they were older, you know, like had been out for a month plus at this point in time, and he just wasn't it for me. His jump shot was only on quick. He had the right sigs and everything, but they did take off his Pro 3 behind the back for no apparent reason. I'm not even a big fan of that, but a lot of people didn't like that. He came with Hoss Steady, which wasn't good for current gen players, and on next, his jump shot just wasn't fast enough, really. I mean, a few people did have good success with this card, a few people still run this card, but this was kind of the one season XP award, along with Vince Carter, where it was like, if you didn't get them, you really didn't feel like you were missing out on anything. And now at number 4, we have Glen Rice. This card just came out yesterday. Dudes had been waiting all year for a Glen Rice card, because in 2K20 he was definitely my favorite card to use, and a lot of others as well. But everybody was waiting to get that jump shot 98 on Glen Rice. Of course, neither of these Glen Rices didn't have it, but either did his lower tier cards last year. So people thought once we finally got an endgame Glen Rice, they would slap base 98 on him, but they did not do that. And that is just so disappointing to me, because he was one of my favorite cards last year. Base 98 on next gen is a far cry from what base 98 was in 2K20, but nevertheless, in my opinion, still quite a bit better than jump shot 13. And for a 6'7" shooting guard, I mean, you know, they got to have a jump shot that stands out to make the lineup at this point with cards like Kawhi in the game. So just having jump shot 13 on him is cool, but just not what we expected out of a Glen Rice card after what he was able to do in 2K20. And now for the top 3 most disappointing cards to me, coming in at number 3, we have this ralphsampson card. He was season 1 of Limited. Of course, Limited was a new game mode for 2K21, so a lot of people had their eyes on this game mode when the game came out, and people were waiting for 2K to update this card all of season 1. He hit the database on day 1, and even on day 1, people could not believe they gave him 44 speed. Yes, he is 7'4", but nobody, and I mean nobody, thought this card was actually going to drop with these stats. Yes, he did help one person, Zeb Warrior, qualify for the 250k tournament, But most people just did not use this card. Most people didn't even get this card. And with the way that Limited was marketed at the start of the year, people really thought we'd be getting a world beater of a card for the final prize. And that definitely was not the case in Season 1 with this ralphsampson at all. And for the top 2, at number 2, we have the Dark Matter Carmelo Anthony. This card came at a time when we absolutely needed good content. This was midway through Season 6. They hadn't really been dropping idols very much, and everybody was complaining about content all throughout Glitched Reality. Everybody was saying that it was too RNG based, and once we saw we were getting a Dark Matter Mellow, it looked like maybe he would be a guy to come in and help bring some hype back into the game. The badges and stats looked right, but where things went wrong is when you got to the 6. This card came out in April, so it was a prerequisite to have Quick and Pro 2 on your wings, and even shots were starting to be on very quick at this point, and he had none of those things. Now, he was a fine cone. Like, he wasn't terrible. There was a lot of cards on this list that just weren't terrible, but there was just far better options. A lot of people wanted a good Carmelo card, and this card was just not the game-changing Carmelo Anthony that a lot of people wanted. Like I mentioned, he was usable, and I know there's a lot of people kind of in the group that are like, every card doesn't need to have the Curry escape, and every card doesn't need to have quicker shifty, and that's true, but when there's a bunch of other cards that have those things, of course, if you want to have the most of an advantage when it comes to building a competitive team, you're going to pick those. And honestly, for me, it's not even the Curry escape that makes this card not appealing to me. It's the slasher dribble style and the basic size up package. The inability to side, the inability to quick stop, along with the jump shot being on quick and not a very good base on either gen. It was just disappointing, and this was when we needed a new card to bring some hype into the game the most, and this Carmelo Anthony just did everything but that. And now for number 1, the most disappointing card all of 2K21 has to go to my man Baron Davis. Oh man, Season of Giving, the whole entire time, this card was supposed to be the point guard that finally takes Steph Curry out of the meta, and he definitely did not do that. People were losing sleep trying to make sure they had the right cards to be able to walk in this Baron Davis. Everybody was just waiting for Season 3 for this Baron Davis. People were more excited about this card than they were about the Season XP agenda card of D Wade. But once he came out, everybody was so disappointed. Everyone thought he would come with off range. He didn't. He came with gold steady, which is just not ideal for current at all. And on next, it's not even on Hoff. So that was disappointing. He didn't even get Hoff clamps. Like, he just really wasn't it. And on top of that, for current gen players, he didn't get any Showtime dunks. He didn't have quick dribble style. Like, man, I know this card came out at the end of December, but it was like, holy smokes. Everybody thought he was going to be the new meta point guard, and he was the furthest thing from it. There was just better options, and honestly, even the Pink Diamond Steph Curry just felt better than this card at the time this card came out. The biggest thing for this card is that everyone and their brother thought this was going to be the new meta point guard, and he just was not. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm out.